Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, and it is Thursday Morning Live. You know, it's early on the West Coast. I was just talking to our guest before I went live here this morning that it's early. It's 6:30 here, and just got to get woken up and get going. And if nothing else, that music will definitely do that for you this morning. So, hey, I want to welcome you to Thursday Morning Live. And if it's your first time here, I'm glad that you're here, and whoever invited you, just thank them because we bring a lot of great content and guests on a weekly basis to Thursday Morning Live, not just about real estate and multifamily real estate, but about entrepreneurship and how to, mindset and things to keep you going in your daily business. I've had all kinds of entrepreneurs on. So, hey, buckle up. You never know what's going to happen. I'm excited about this morning. Our guest, Tyler Check, he's from CoStar, and we'll get to Tyler in a minute. But I want to remind you, coming up October 17th and 18th, if you're not aware of it, or if you are aware of it, get your ticket. The annual multifamily summit. This is my 5th annual summit. It's virtual, so no excuses why you can't come. You can do it from your home, your office, and if you can't make the whole event, it's going to be recorded, and you can get a copy of that recording. I want to tell you, this year it is just action-packed. Well over 20 speakers and panelists. Great sponsors like Tyler and CoStar will be sponsoring the event. But Neil Bao is going to be on talking about the economy. We're going to have Chad Coe on talking about mindset. Dugan Kelly talking about the legal aspects. We're going to have high performance panels, and we're going to have a capital raise panel. So there'll be a lot of talk about raising capital, about getting started in the business, the things that you need to know. Don't miss this year's event, October 17th and 18th, virtually starting at 9 a.m., going all day. Go to multifamily24.com and get registered right now. Hey, let's get going. Let's bring my guest in from CoStar, Tyler Check with CoStar. If you're not familiar with CoStar, hang around. You're going to get some good information and knowledge this morning that's going to help you as you're evaluating your multifamily deals. Tyler, good morning.
Morning, Mike. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, doing great. A little bit later in the morning here for me, so I'm already had my cup of coffee and feeling a little bit more awake than I'm sure you are, Mike.
Yeah. You know what? Like I said before, though, that music gave me a little shot in the arm, so could have been a little longer this morning, but
awesome.
Tyler, where are you calling from?
So I'm actually out of Green Bay, Wisconsin, so go Packers, but Midwest, nice. Love it here.
Awesome. And you're with CoStar. What do you do with CoStar?
So I'm an account executive at CoStar. CoStar owns a bunch of different brands. I mainly focus on the data side through the actual CoStar platform. Work with a lot of different clients on some of our other brands like LoopNet and Apartments.com and Homes.com. But my main thing is with the data and analytics, working with folks like you, Mike, owners, people are looking to get into ownership, brokers, appraisers, assessors. So pretty much anyone dealing with commercial real estate, I'm talking to and helping them with their projects and initiatives.
Awesome. Hey, we'll dig into that a little bit because I want to hear more, right? And I want to see some of the changes. You were right about a lot of brands, and I didn't know until I saw your CEO speak at an event about a month or so ago, and it was great. It was eye-opening for me. So hopefully we can convey some of that information. Before I start these shows, I always like to ask my guests one question, and that is, in one word, what best describes you personally and professionally?
I don't know if it'd be one word, but always willing to learn.
Always willing to learn.
Yeah. So throwing a few words out there, but yeah, I mean, I'm an open book. I love talking to guys like you, Mike, talking to everyone in the industry, and always learning, whether it's about real estate or about golf or about fishing or anything you do personally. So again, I love learning.
Education sure is important. That's for sure. And I just had this conversation with somebody yesterday that, you know, somebody said, "Hey, knowledge is power," and I said, "You know what? At some level, it is power, but then becomes the point where it's the potential for power. You can get educated that much because it's the action with that knowledge that gets you to where you need to go." Would
Exactly.
you? Yeah. So, hey,
Yeah.
so what's your background, Tyler? Talk a little bit about you and your history and how you got involved with CoStar.
Yeah, appreciate it. So, out of college, went for business and marketing. Um, you know, ultimately just started in the sales force. So working for a couple different companies. I worked for a company called Pitney Bowes. If you ever were in business and bought their mail machines, they do a lot more than that, but handled their national accounts for about 10 years. Turned into more of an inside position than I'd liked. There was a lot less going out in the field, and yeah, COVID had a little bit to do with that, but just wanted to get back out in the field. I love talking with people face to face and meeting with people rather than always on the phone. So had the opportunity to come up to move over to CoStar, coming up on 3 years here, and jumped on it, and happy I did, because I get to meet with a lot of great people, talk to a lot of the people, big players in real estate, and learn a lot. So wasn't always a commercial real estate background. The last 3 years I've learned a ton, and I'm continuing to learn, but it's definitely been a great move for me, and I'm happy to be with CoStar now.
Awesome. Hey, is Pitney Bowes still around?
They
Are
are.
they
And
really?
I know mailings not as big as it used to be, but they still do a lot now with the packages. Uh, so they have some shipping softwares and things that they're working with for the smaller companies now, with e-com being so big.
Yeah. It's interesting. I look at some older companies. I don't know if you ever read a book by Jim Collins called Good to Great, but in that book, he talks about, companies that got really good. And then he followed it up with another book that was, boy, I can't remember the name of the second book, but he he talked about the companies in that book that didn't change with the chimes changing, and how they aren't there anymore today. So it's kind of interesting. It's a good couple of books. Tyler, so let's talk about CoStar a little bit. It's a data platform that helps CRE investors, multifamily investors get data. Talk to that a little bit. Are you ready to skyrocket your investment portfolio and leave a legacy? Are you tired of inconsistent returns received in the stock market? Then it's time you take a look at alternative investment options, like a passive investment in multifamily real estate. No tenants, trash, or toilets, just a solid return on an annual investment, including quarterly returns along the way. These lower risk and secure assets are also a great hedge against inflation. If you want to hear more about these types of opportunities, email me directly to schedule a 15-minute consultation to see if you qualify. You can email me at mike@mycoreintentions.com.
So CoStar, I mean, obviously there's a lot of folks in the industry that know the name. If you're just getting into the industry, maybe you don't know CoStar specifically, but I mentioned earlier, we own a bunch of different brands, and I'm pretty sure everybody's at least heard of one of our brands, whether it's apartments.com or LoopNet or homes.com. So ultimately, CoStar, we're the leader in digitizing real estate. We've been in the industry for 40 years. Uh, Really, where I work from a CoStar perspective, again, is helping folks with the analytics behind real estate. You mentioned knowledge is power. It's a great quote that I really hold to, because whenever you're doing anything in real estate, you need the data to back your decisions, whether you're a broker who's recommending a price point for your clients, or whether you're an owner looking to buy properties, or you're a new investor that's looking to kind of underwrite some deals, or analyze some offerings that have come across your plate. Just having access to the analytics behind commercial real estate is more important than ever. You know, tough markets definitely need the analytics to be able to take a look at them. Now, analytics aren't always everything. There's a lot more that goes into it, but having a good base of knowledge and all that numbers behind commercial real estate, is really important in, I guess, any situation, not just real estate, but that's really where we shine, is helping folks get the numbers that they need to start looking at projects.
So what kind of data can I get? Is it, I spent 15 years in the residential business as an agent, and we used to do a CMA, a competitive market analysis, right? And be able to tell a homeowner, this is what your house should sell at. And, is that the same kind of data that I get on CoStar, but just on a larger scale?
Yep. So CoStar is more commercial real estate based. With homes.com, you can actually now do a CMA for clients right through the platform. So that's something that's, as of February, we launched all of that. So you can do those for the residential, but from CoStar, I mean, you name it, Mike. If there's some sort of an analytic or data that you want in commercial real estate, there's a way to get it in CoStar. Whether that's, I want to look at the country overall and see what we're doing in retail or hospitality or multifamily office. What markets have the highest rent growth in multifamily? What markets have the lowest vacancy in office? So anything around commercial real estate, any data you can imagine, we can pull in CoStar.
Interesting. So it'll tell me where rents have been, where they're at today, and where they're headed?
Correct. We do have forecast models in there. Obviously, no one has a crystal ball, but with the amount of data that we gather, and I guess just take a step back, the way that we gather data is multifaceted. So not only are we getting all this data from like your apartments.com or third party, platforms under that umbrella, we have multiple agreements with companies like Yardi or Rentables, where they're feeding data into our platform. And then we have the largest team of researchers, Mike, who's second largest behind the Census Bureau. So we have a huge team of researchers that sit, and they're calling people like you when you close on a deal saying, hey, Mike, give me some details on that deal, and just collecting data from a property level up. So we're not just looking at downtown Chicago and saying that's what the Chicago market is. We're gathering data from a property level up, which really allows us to get very in depth on our analytics and give folks the ability to really customize what they're looking for.
That's interesting. I always knew that CoStar was a data research company, and that there was, but I had no idea they were second behind the Census Bureau with employees doing data research. That's incredible.
I give those people credit. I mean, I think they have to make like 100 calls a day.
Yeah.
Gathering data.
So, and they get all the data from, so if I sell an investment property, is CoStar calling me to get data about the sale of that property?
We're certainly going to try.
Yeah. And they're trying to get, records, who maybe the new buyer is, because I've seen that I can get a lot of information about loans coming due, which in today's market could be really good for an investor, right? So let's say that a multifamily investor wants to buy in a specific market, a specific type of property, but he only wants to buy property where that loan might be in default, or that loan may be struggling right now. There's enough data in the research that they could pull a batch of loans like that, right?
To an extent. So we do have CMBS loan data. We obviously you can imagine some of the loan information through private banks and private lenders is data that you're just not going to get. I mean, they're not willing to give that up, but yes, you can go into CoStar, look at CMBS loan data and be able to say, hey, what properties, what multifamily properties are on these CMBS loans, and maybe they have a balloon payment that's coming up in the next 2 years, and you can see that they financed it at 4%, and now we're going to have to come back at 8% with this big balloon payment. Maybe they may not be able to make that cash flow anymore.
Yeah.
So I have the ability to go in and make a call and maybe get that property for a steal.
Interesting. So when you look at markets today, and we all know that this business is market driven and cycle driven, right? I always say there's no geniuses in the business. There's just market cycles. But what are the top, 3 or 4 markets that make sense in the country today?
And it obviously depends on what your goals are, what your KPIs that you look at. Obviously, Mike, maybe you look at a specific set of KPIs, like I need it to be an emerging market where there's a low population that's growing and very little inventory, and I want to go there and build up that city. Or maybe you're a little bit larger on the investment side and you're focusing on, hey, I need to find markets that have high rent growth and low vacancy. So it really depends on what you're looking for. You can search for all those markets within CoStar and figure out which markets match what you like to invest in. I will say, as far as kind of some of the major KPIs that most people look at in the multifamily industry would be more or less vacancy or rent growth. Obviously you don't want to go into a market that's got, a 10% vacancy rate, and you don't want to go into a market that's only got a 1% rent growth. So probably some of the top markets right now, if you're looking at annual rent growth, Providence, Rhode Island is sitting right under 5%. Hartford, Connecticut's at 4.3%. I'm sure you'll like to hear this, Mike. Tulsa, Oklahoma is number 3 right now as far as the markets overall, sitting at a just under 4% annual rent growth.
I didn't know you were going to say that, and I kind of took a shot because I knew that statistic, but I wanted to see if it came up. Thank you.
I made sure to give you that plug on your, you got the property there. Vacancy rates, and to be honest, I mean, Midwest overall, middle of the country is seeing some of the higher rent growth, slower vacancy rates. There's some anomalies, like New York City's got the lowest vacancy rate at 2.6%, but they're not even on the chart when it comes to rent growth. So a lot of people looking for homes, but just not a lot of rent growth there.
Yeah.
So
I would say go ahead. I'm sorry.
Probably 2 of the strongest markets when you look at both. You're probably looking at like Providence, Rhode Island, and actually Madison, Wisconsin. Both have high rent growth and low vacancy rates.
Madison's been hot for a long time. Oh, pricing is kind of interesting in Madison. I've gone through a lot of underwriting with some of my coaching clients in the Madison market, and it's a interesting market, that's for sure. So who should reach out to you? Who's your perfect client?
Anybody that needs real estate data. The platform, I mean, Mike, what we cost. I mean, it's not a inexpensive platform. If you're looking to buy your first fourplex, you may not have the best use for our data. It may not be justifiable for the cost, but if you're starting to get into investing and you're starting to look at, hey, I want to buy some 10 units, or I want to buy 20 units, or I'm looking to invest in a couple of different projects that are in multifamily, whether they're 10, 20, 30, 50 units, and you just need the analytics behind it, it can really start paying dividends. You start thinking about, one project, and Mike, you do this all the time, but if you're putting up a are looking to buy a 20 unit building, and if you don't have the right data, man, you can be off, and just a small percentage of your cash flow can be put into the cost of CoStar to avoid costly mistakes.
Yeah.
And you can easily recuperate that on, hey, if I could get $50 more per unit than what I originally thought based on all the analytics, that's paying for your cost of the subscription. So anything with commercial real estate that you're doing, whether it is multifamily or you like looking at retail or industrial, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you, and I'll be the first one to tell you, it's probably not the right fit for you, or yeah, here you go. I mean, this would really help you save some money or make more money having the analytics behind what you're looking to do.
Yeah, and that's what I would encourage people to do, is reach out to you and talk about that. Have a conversation about their personal situation, and can you and CoStar be helpful for them in what they're trying to accomplish? Because I know we monitor about 40 submarkets around the country, and you've got to have some data in order to do that. And I always tell people, I say, hey, there's free data and there's paid data, and you're going to get what you pay for sometimes. So, it's worth the conversation.
And even if it's a simple conversation, and I told you this before, Mike, and I know I've helped you out with a few different things, but even if you're a newer investor and you just are looking at one specific market and you'd like a sample market report, I mean, I'd be happy to help people out from time to time, and obviously within reason, but I'm here to help new investors as well. So something you want to have a conversation and you're looking at investing in 10 unit in this area and you don't really know where the numbers are, and you'd like some data, some reports to kind of help you with your decisions, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to help you out a little bit.
Appreciate that. Thanks, Tyler. Hey, coming up in October is the summit. CoStar, you're going to be a sponsor. Appreciate that this year. Great event this year. I know you were there last year. What are we going to be talking about at the event for CoStar?
Hey, so for CoStar, I mean, obviously your event's focused on multifamily. Be able to hop in and I can highlight some major markets and updates on some rent growth. But ultimately, it was an awesome event last year, Mike. Was blown away by the knowledge that you guys put on with the speakers, and was happy to help you out this year and sponsor it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, we're going to have we'll have a great turnout this year. So we got a lot of things cooking, that's for sure. So hey, let me ask you this. You came last year for the first time. You hung out and participated and networked, and even had an opportunity to share, which you'll get another opportunity this year. But what I want to know is if I was a real estate investor, whether brand new or somebody who's been in the business for a while, and I was sitting there thinking about coming to this year's event, why should I make a decision to pull the trigger and come to the event?
Knowledge is everything, Mike. And you put on a great, presentation, a lot of information that's given out. And I can guarantee you that anyone that goes and attends this event is going to walk away with at least one thing they didn't know before about multifamily real estate. And that's just it. If you can learn one new thing every day or on any of these events, it's going to benefit you in the long run. Whether it's I learned about a different investment strategy, or I learned about passive investing versus buying and developing my own, or I learned about a tax strategy, or whatever you've learned, you take away one thing from that, and it's going to help you in the long run with your investment strategies and being a multifamily investor. So if you're sitting on the sidelines right now, it's definitely going to be worth it. I guarantee you're going to learn more than one thing on this call. But I guarantee you will at least walk away with one thing you didn't know before that's going to help you with your future investment strategies.
It's awesome. Thanks, Tyler. I appreciate that. And anybody who's thinking about going to the summit, you just heard it from Tyler, why you should go. You know what? I always say, listen, if it cost me $1,000, and this event doesn't cost anywhere near that, but if it cost me $1,000 and I learned one thing that can go and help me make tens of thousands of dollars as a result of that, that event was priceless. So when I think back about coaching over the years, I spent $180,000 on one-on-one coaching over a 20-year period. But I've made millions of dollars as a result of it. So, it's interesting how you bring things into perspective, right? So, hey, I appreciate you being here this morning. It's great to catch up and see you again. Anything planned for the summer? Any trips, vacations coming up for you?
Yeah, we're gonna actually, wife and I are gonna head down to Savannah, Georgia, and hang out with some family and go on a boat and deal with the hot weather. Miss Savannah. It's been a few years since I've been there, so looking forward to that. But get on the golf course a couple of times here, and we'll be back to school before you know it with the kids.
Awesome. Good for you. Hey, great to see you. We'll look forward to staying in touch. I'm sure we're going to talk a few times before the summit comes up, and we'll connect soon. So how do people get in touch with you if they want to reach out to you, Tyler?
Hey, definitely, give me a call. Shoot me an email as well, but, happy to take a phone call. I know Mike's got it scrolling across the bottom, but this number is 920-370-7438. Email is just tcheck, TCHECK at CoStar.com. Give me a call, shoot me an email, send me a text, whatever works for you, and we can set up some time to chat.
That's pretty simple. Appreciate that. Tyler, thanks for being here. And thanks, everybody, for listening in this morning. Again, we're here every Thursday morning. And if you're just tuning in, catching the end of this, just remember October 17th and 18th is the Multifamily Summit. This is the 5th annual virtual Multifamily Summit, where we are going to have a host of speakers, 20 speakers and panelists this year that are going to talk about getting started in real estate or going and doing your next deal. We're going to have some big, very well-known speakers on stage, and in part of the panels, we're going to talk about raising capital. We're going to talk about tax strategies. We're going to talk about how to use paid data. We're going to talk about asset management, which, I'm saying today that these deals in this market are made and broken at the asset management level. And if you need to get some education around that and get better at what you're doing, you're going to want to tune in and listen to these people that talk about this. I'm going to have a panel of high performers. These people have done over 100,000 units in the last 10 years. What do you think you can learn from them? So be there October 17th and 18th, and you can go get registered at multifamily.com. And, very simple, just log on multifamily24.com and get registered. Tyler, thanks again for being here, and we'll see everybody next week. Have a